in Columbus. It's wonderful, and it's a very successful mixture of a practical building and his themes. Because, of course, in a great big building like that, you can't touch it.
Yes.
The inside is like any convention. But he had fun on the roof.
Yes.
Nobody, but if you had to be in the air to see that.
Yeah.
But he did it anyhow. I don't like House 6. I don't like many of his houses. The one I like best is the one that had terrible fights where you can't see it in Vermont, House 2. But he didn't get good until recently. He got good with Wexner.
Yes, that was
the Wexner. Then the convention center was a great deal better than Wexner because it was more practical. And then now, of course, his Berlin project is glorious.
Yeah.
What every architect does is to carry on his own thinking. That's what's going to happen. No, it isn't. It's going to be the only assurance we have in this world is change. And so it's not going to be like your work or like mine.
I see.
It's going to be entirely different.
Okay.
And we cannot tell.
His approach.
He made perfectly obvious points we all make about the city as such, but he doesn't have any. British monarchs don't have much taste in art. Well, the tough ones saw it the next one. I'm having a terrible time now doing over that building in Central Park, the Gulf and Western building.
Yes.
Looks over at Central Park. They have to take off all the outside.
Okay.
Put a new skin on it.
Okay.
So that's the biggest problem I have right now. I don't pay any attention to education. I don't think it's important. And I think it'd be just the same if we didn't have any architectural schools. Mies van der Rohe never went to school. Le Corbusier never went to school. Frank Lloyd Wright never went to school. So what does that tell you? I don't know, but that schools are unnecessary. Since if you'd met Hassan Fatih when you were young,
yes,
you would have learned more there than you would have in that big institution.
Yes.
Look, apprenticeship is the only way.
Yes.
It's the only way before they had education. Well, education was brought in by the Beaux-Arts. It certainly didn't improve architecture. And then the Bauhaus that taught you that if you build a square box and build it with a flat roof, the flat roof isn't the only way to build a roof, you know.
Yes.
But it's the only functional way. It's cheap. But I didn't like it. Well, I couldn't stand Bob. No, he's a wonderful man.
Yeah.
You know, Boston gets sort of a side issue. I mean,
yes,
it's a dead end.
Yeah.
It's like Portland, Maine.
Yeah.
You go to there, and then what do? You're jumping off? I mean,
yes.
Whereas New York, you go to Boston, Philadelphia, West Coast, Europe. I think he's the best architect. Well, I'm another generation. He's one of my kids. They wanted me to build a building that was against the glass box. The Seagram building is still the best building in New York. Well, for its kind of building, AT&T, I love that. I did until they changed it.
Yes.
It's very sad for me. I can't go by that block anymore. They changed it. Sony filled all that in. That was an open arcade. The Americans right now have to have people places.
Okay.
What I did there was a monumental arcade. Bernini had no idea that people were going to use his arcade, and they don't. It's just a monument.
Yes.
And what's wrong with that? Well, they asked me, but there's nothing I could do since they were going to do something anyhow, and they had a good architect, Charles Watney. The statue is a symbol of the telephone company. It wasn't a landmark, and they said that we want to close it in. And I said, you have the right to do that because it is a shopping street, and there's no shops on the street. So if you want to do it, it's just a changing times. What AT&T wanted was a monument. What you want is a shop.
Yes.
Well, it's your building. So I just congratulated him on getting a good architect. I didn't know how bad it was going to be. And I got the idea from Ephesus.
Okay.
A temple there, Hadrianic temple. But It wasn't Chippendale.
And how
I'm not a very good administrator or businessman, you see. And I'm very lucky to have good people to do that work for me. But the first partner was really my head of the office. And so I gave him the name partner because he was doing all the execution, all the
management.
all the management, all the everything.
I see.
So I made him my partner. The second partner was a different kettle of fish. Bergie was a brilliant administrator. Was very
Yes,
all our
yes.
big buildings were done
I
here
see.
together 20 years.
I see.
And then he didn't see why I was sticking around. So, I don't know, I just became a partner again
I see.
yesterday
Yeah. Okay.
with a man named Richie and a man named Joe, KPF.
Yes.
The designer there is Pedersen.
Yes.
Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
That's the name of the company.
Yes.
Bergie did all the liaison.
Yes. I see. Okay.
I don't remember his name. We had an office of 80 people. Now we're forced. And people don't give jobs to somebody almost 90. He says, well, I have too much work now. But I'm also working on my own, privately, because the work that I do is too expensive to
I see.
other people to use.
Okay. So you would say that the economy did have an impact, of course, on your amount of work. Yes. Yes.
Right now I'm doing the building I told you about on Central Park.
Okay.
It's Columbus Circle. Well, my mother was always interested in architecture. I was always interested in design and architecture. And then I got sidetracked lots of times. And so I was kind of late going to school. Then the war came. Well, I told him to drop by if he came to New Canaan. He was building a house nearby.
Oh, I see.
So he was curious. He did the house. Oh. But he was very funny, very humorous man.
Yes.
He
Yeah.
did my apartment in 1930, and I didn't go to school until 1943. So I did the whole Museum of Modern Art business during the 30s.
Okay.
And then the war, and then after the war, I just didn't know what to do.
Okay.
You idiot, go learn to be an architect. Well, you can't draw. I never could draw. Very, very quiet and difficult.
I see.
And he was wonderful after about 3 martinis. Loved to drink.
Yeah.
He was angry anyhow. The last time I didn't see him much the last year
Oh.
because I wouldn't go to his school. I wouldn't do what he wanted. I collect art of my own period, which is the 60s, where I was conscious. And she was a pupil of Rem Koolhaas.
Yeah. Okay.
Best
Yes.
architect.
Yes.
Well, another best architect. I'm sorry he did it, because I think Michael better than that. The
Hotels?
Swan and all that,
Yeah.
Disneyfication. Well, it does influence people. Disney is a very powerful influence. And of course, Eisner is a wonderful client, great man. But I think he was a little bit influenced by that. I don't blame him at all. I would be too. Well, I think he lost his independence that way.
I see.
And I'm not very fond of all these little objects. Things that he sells, the little
The
clocks, no doubt Paul has had bad luck considering how wonderful he is.
Yes.
I wish we could buck him up somehow.